You are bringing shame and disgrace to our respected home," Chief Kanu roared, slamming his palm against the polished mahogany dining table. The sound echoed through the grand dining room, silencing even the ticking of the antique wall clock. His wife, Madame Agnes, stood beside him, arms folded tightly across her chest, brows arched in stern disapproval. Her coral beads rattled softly as she shifted her weight. "Amanda, listen to your father," she said, her voice sharp and unforgiving. "Obinna is a responsible young man. He comes from a good family. You are not a child anymore. Girls your age are already in their husbands' houses, raising families and building their homes." Amanda Kanu, their only daughter, stood across the room in a sleek designer dress that hugged her figure. Her fists were clenched, jaw set, eyes blazing with defiance. "Daddy, Mummy," she said through gritted teeth, "I cannot marry that mummy's boy. He is not my type. I would rather stay single for the rest of my life than waste it with someone I do not love." Chief Kanu's expression darkened. He stood, towering over her, with a glare that could cut glass. "Do you think this is about love? Obina's parents invested heavily in my business when I was down. If not for them, you wouldn't be enjoying this life of luxury. I owe them, Amanda. And this is how you repay me?" Amanda's voice rose. "By forcing me into a loveless marriage. I'm not some pawn you can trade in your business deals. Marriage is not a contract." Before either parent could respond, Amanda turned and stormed up the stairs. Moments later, she reappeared with a small suitcase in hand. "Amanda, where do you think you're going?" Madame Agnes called after her, voice quivering with both anger and fear. But it was too late. The front door slammed shut behind Amanda, leaving only silence and the shattered pieces of their expectations in her wake. Amanda banged on Eunice's door in the middle of the night, her heart racing and tears threatening to fall. After a few moments, the door creaked open. Eunice, her childhood friend, stood in the doorway, rubbing her eyes, clearly startled and half asleep. "Amanda?" she mumbled, blinking. "What happened?" Amanda pushed past her, tossing her bag onto the couch. "My parents are insisting I marry." "Obinna," she said angrily, "can you imagine? Just because he comes from money, they want to sell me off like a goat at the market." Eunice closed the door and followed her. "Maybe he's not that bad," she offered gently. "I mean, he's rich, handsome, and cultured." Amanda spun around, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Culture, my foot. The guy can't sneeze without calling his mother to ask for permission. That's not a husband, Eunice. That's a pet." Eunice folded her arms, concern replacing sleep on her face. "So what are you going to do now?" Amanda paused, her voice dropping to a determined whisper. "I know what to do." Eunice frowned, a chill running down her spine. "Amanda, what are you planning?" Amanda looked her straight in the eye. "Something that will change everything." The next day, Amanda got behind the wheel of her sleek SUV and hit the road, desperate for a breath of fresh air and clarity. Her thoughts were a whirlwind of anger, confusion, and rebellion. As she drove aimlessly through the outskirts of town, something unusual caught her attention. Near a smoldering waste dump, 3 young men were scavenging for scraps. Something about the scene pulled at her. She slowed down, then stopped the car and got out. The stench was overwhelming, but she didn't care. She walked toward them, her heels crunching against gravel and glass. "Hey!" she called out. The 3 men looked up, puzzled, wary. Their faces were smeared with dust and sweat. "I'll pay one of you 100,000 naira to follow me home," Amanda said, arms crossed, voice sharp with challenge. 2 of the men sprang up, eager and alert, eyes wide with hope, but one remained where he was, seated slightly apart from the others. His hair was long and unkempt, his beard uneven, and a faded baseball cap cast a shadow over his face. Yet it was his stillness, his quiet detachment that set him apart. "You," Amanda said, pointing directly at him, "what's your name?" "Vincent," he replied, his voice steady and low. I want you, Amanda declared, her tone firm and unwavering. Vincent met her gaze without flinching. I'm not for sale, he said calmly. Amanda arched a brow, intrigued. Every man has a price. Name yours. 500,000 naira, he said without hesitation, his eyes never leaving hers. Amanda smirked. I'll give you that, she said, reaching into her purse and pulling out a thick bundle of notes. But the man stepped back and shook his head. Give it to them, he said, nodding toward his friends. I'll go with you, not for money, but because I'm curious. Amanda froze, surprised. No one had ever said no to her money before. Her smirk faded into a look of interest. This man, whoever he was, had just become more than a distraction. He had become a mystery. Back at Eunice's modest apartment, Amanda led Vincent inside, where he stood awkwardly near the door, unsure of what to do with his hands. His freshly washed clothes still hung loosely on his lean frame, and his eyes scanned the room cautiously. Eunice, seated on the couch with a cup of tea, nearly choked when she saw him. "Amanda, are you okay?" she gasped, springing to her feet. He could be dangerous. Amanda raised a hand dismissively. He's not, I don't think he is. He's quiet, respectful, and just what I need to drive my parents crazy. Eunice eyed Vincent skeptically. Do you even know what you've signed up for? Vincent glanced at Amanda, then back at Eunice. No, he said honestly, but it seems interesting. Amanda chuckled and turned to him. You're going to pretend to be my fiancé. We'll clean you up first. The next day, Amanda took Vincent to a salon in Lekki. His tangled hair was trimmed neatly, his patchy beard shaped into something stylish, and his nails scrubbed until they shone. Then she whisked him off to an upscale boutique. He tried on everything, from tuxedos to blazers to designer jeans. When he stepped out of the fitting room in a navy blue suit, Amanda stared, momentarily speechless. Her breath caught in her throat. You look handsome, she finally managed, almost in a whisper. Vincent offered a shy smile. Thank you. Over the next few days, Amanda trained him like a coach, prepping an actor for a role. She taught him how to sit at a dinner table like a gentleman, how to answer hypothetical questions about fake investments and family background, and how to carry himself like someone born into affluence. But the more time she spent with Vincent, the more intrigued she became. He was unlike any man she had ever met. He wasn't trying to impress her. He didn't flirt. He didn't ask for favors or money. He slept on the floor with a blanket, read crumpled old newspapers, and often gazed out the window like he was watching a world only he could see. One quiet evening, as Amanda handed him a book she found for him, she asked, "Why are you like this?" Vincent looked at her, his eyes unreadable. "Because life has shown me things," he said simply, "things that make noise seem like nonsense." Amanda had no reply. One night, she returned from grocery shopping and was stunned to find the aroma of stew wafting through the apartment. She followed the smell to the kitchen and froze. Vincent stood by the stove, cooking. "You cook?" she asked, surprised. He gave a small shrug. "Yes, I do." He didn't say more. He never said much, but Amanda sat on the kitchen stool and watched him. The way he moved, calm, gentle, precise, fascinated her. He chopped vegetables with care, stirred the pot with intention. Her heart began to beat faster, and she didn't understand why. Later, that night, they sat side by side on the couch watching an old romantic comedy. Without thinking, Amanda found herself leaning closer to him. His scent, clean, earthy, simple, wrapped around her like a quiet spell. "What are you doing?" she scolded herself. "This is fake. You hired him?" She quickly shifted away, pretending to stretch, but Vincent had noticed. He said nothing. The next day, as Amanda tried to brush her feelings aside, Vincent finally brought up the subject. "When are we going to see your parents?" he asked, his tone steady. "I have a life to return to. I have responsibilities. Amanda frowned. Relax. You don't lack anything here. You eat good food, dress well, and have a roof over your head. Vincent's eyes narrowed. Life isn't about food, clothes, and shelter alone. I have my own life to live. This may be temporary for you, but for me, time matters, Amanda sighed. Just be patient. I promise you, just a few more days. I'll make it worth your while. Vincent looked at her long and hard, then turned away without a word. But something had shifted, and Amanda felt it, deeply. One sunny Sunday afternoon, Amanda stood in the living room of Eunice's apartment, staring at Vincent. We're going to see my parents, she announced. Today. Vincent, lounging near the window with the newspaper in his hand, looked up calmly. About time. Amanda felt her heart pounding as they drove to her family's mansion in Ikoyi. She hadn't been back since the day she stormed out. As they approached the gate, old memories flooded her. Family dinners, harsh expectations, and that final argument. When they arrived, Amanda entered first. Chief Kanu was in the sitting room reading the papers. His eyes shot up the moment he saw her. You dare return here without agreeing to marry Obinna, he barked, rising from his seat. Dad, please, Amanda said softly, her voice trembling, eyes moist. I love someone else. Just give him a chance. Chief Kanu's expression faltered for a moment. Who is he? Ask him to come see me. He's already here, Amanda replied, turning toward the door. A moment later, she returned with Vincent by her side. The moment Chief Kanu laid eyes on him, his gaze narrowed. This face looks familiar. I don't think so, sir, Vincent replied nervously, clasping his hands. At dinner, the tension was thick. Chief Kanu folded his arms and leaned forward. Tell us about yourself, young man. Vincent took a deep breath, then answered smoothly. My name is Vincent, the only son of Chief Andudiri. Chief Kanu's eyes widened. He leaned back, stunned. Chief Andudiri Anyanwu? Yes, sir, Vincent answered. For a long moment, Chief Kanu was silent. Then he shook his head slowly. I knew it. I said your face looked familiar. I just couldn't place it. Chief Andudiri. Your father was my boss. I worked for him for over 10 years. Amanda and Vincent exchanged a shocked glance. Things had just taken an unexpected turn. Years ago, when Chief Kanu was just a humble man struggling to make ends meet, he worked as a cook and gateman for the wealthy and influential Chief Andudiri. It was a job he took seriously, always punctual, always respectful. He never imagined that his loyalty and diligence were being noticed. One rainy afternoon, Chief Andudiri invited him inside the main house, a rare occurrence. Kanu wiped his hands nervously as he stepped into the sitting room. You've served me. Faithfully, Kanu, Chief Andudiri said, sipping from a fine china teacup. You're honest, hard-working. I want to help you start something. A small transport business. I believe in you. Tears welled up in Kanu's eyes. It was the first time anyone had seen potential in him beyond servitude. Thank you, sir. I won't disappoint you, he whispered. Chief Andudiri handed him the keys to a used van, an envelope of startup cash, and gave him personal letters of recommendation to others in the transport industry. That singular act of kindness changed Kanu's life. With hard work and persistence, Kanu grew the small business into a fleet. Years later, he became a respected tycoon, but he never forgot the man who gave him his first real chance. Years later, now a wealthy and respected businessman, Chief Kanu decided to visit the man who had changed his life, Chief Andudiri. It had been years since they'd spoken, but gratitude weighed heavily on Kanu's heart. He wanted to thank him properly, to shake his hand once more. He drove to the familiar compound in Surulere, where the old mansion still stood. Stepping out of his car, dressed in an elegant agbada, Kanu knocked on the gate, his heart pounding with anticipation. A young gateman opened it slightly, peering out. Yes, sir? "I want to see Chief Ndudiri," Chief Kanu said confidently. The gateman looked puzzled. "There's no one by that name here." Kanu frowned. "Are you sure? This used to be his house." "I've worked here for years," the gateman replied. "There's never been a Chief Ndudiri. Please, sir, I can't let you in without permission." "Then may I speak to the current residents?" Kanu asked, his voice softening. "I'm sorry, sir. That's not possible," the man replied, then shut the gate gently. Chief Kanu stood there for a moment, stunned. Then, quietly, he returned to his car and drove off, a deep sadness curling in his chest. Chief Ndudiri had vanished, like a ghost. Vincent continued, his voice low and steady. "After my father retired, things took a turn. His investments failed. There were people he helped who never looked back. Then he fell ill. The sickness was slow and cruel. We sold everything just to keep him alive, cars, jewelry, furniture, but it wasn't enough. I had just returned from studying abroad, full of dreams. But those dreams meant nothing when I had to watch the strongest man I knew waste away." He paused, swallowing hard. "When he died, the bank took the house. I lost everything. Friends disappeared. I ended up on the street. That's where Amanda found me." Chief Kanu sat still for a long moment, then slowly bowed his head. "Your father was a great man," he said hoarsely. "He helped me when no one else would. If not for him, I'd still be washing plates. I tried to find him years ago. I asked around, but I failed." He stood and crossed the room to Vincent, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. "You are welcome in this family," he said solemnly. "Not just because my daughter loves you, but because I owe your father a debt I can never repay." Madame Agnes wiped a tear from the corner of her eye. Her stern expression softened. Amanda beamed, her heart swelling with pride. In that moment, the charade became something more, something real. Chief Kanu kept his word. He set Vincent up with a thriving business, a logistics and supply company that quickly began to grow under Vincent's steady hand and quiet brilliance. No longer pretending, Amanda and Vincent allowed their relationship to unfold naturally. What started as an act became something deep and real. They cooked together in the evenings, joked over takeout meals, danced in the living room, and shared their pasts, every wound and triumph. One sunny afternoon, Amanda passed by Vincent's office to surprise him. From a distance, she saw him crouched beside an old beggar woman who sat outside his office gate. He offered her a warm meal, handed her some money, then gently helped her up and spoke to a staff member about arranging a shelter for her. Later that evening, Amanda wrapped her arms around him. "You have your father's heart," she whispered, her eyes filled with emotion. Vincent smiled. "So do you," he replied, brushing a kiss to her forehead. They married in a breathtaking outdoor ceremony, surrounded by friends and family. Flowers lined the aisle, violins played softly, and the air smelled of fresh hope. Eunice sobbed the loudest, hugging Amanda like a sister finally getting her fairy tale ending. Moral lesson of the story: life is not just about us. It's about the impact we leave behind for our children and the generations that follow. Every action we take today, whether kind or cruel, has a ripple effect that eventually finds its way back to us. Let us build a world of compassion by choosing to help others whenever we can. The seeds of kindness we plant today will bloom tomorrow in ways we may never expect. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring and captivating stories. See you in our next video.
But our hearts understand the journey before us. We walk as we planned. With every breath, I'll cherish your name. For you are my heart, and I'll never